You didn't hear about anything for about 10 years in drag racing. Just nothing.
That was it.
That was it. And then drag racing started up like what you're seeing now.
Yeah.
The can motors, light cars, low voltage.
Oh, what are they running for voltage?
16.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 16 is the top voltage.
What are these motors wound at? Are they like 3-volt motors or something?
Oh, sure. 1.5 volt motors.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just like we used to do with the road cars.
Yeah.
And that's done by fewer windings, or how do they do that?
Yeah, fewer windings, bigger wire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you go with 24 gauge and you put on, 22, 23 turns, or if you went with smaller wire, then you go with more turns. And,
I see.
just depending on what you're
Now,
looking
where'd
for.
you guys learn how to do that stuff?
I'm an electromechanical engineer.
Oh.
I studied fractional horsepower electric motors. That's what I took in college.
Serious advantage
Plus-
for you.
Plus,
It just
Slot car
happened.
drag
It
racing.
just happened to work out
Yeah.
that way. But yeah, it was an advantage.
plus it's just
Yeah.
a lot of trial and error and,
Yes.
and trying to do it. I
You know,
mean,
when I was 15, I heard about armature rewinding. I'm looking at my armature going, how in the hell? There's no way I
oh yeah,
don't even know what to
Pete
do.
Zimmerman and I had Zimmerman motors, and we made thousands and thousands of armatures and motors, for years. And I don't know, I couldn't tell you how many armatures I've wound.
Yeah.
and we Pete and I went up to Oregon and bought a dynamic balancing machine. The
Yeah.
thing was huge and
Really?
weighed probably 500 pounds. Yeah,
It was analog, way analog.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, it was,
and then we brought it back and we used that thing for years. Ended up going to Stubbe, and from Stubbe to Gene Husting, or to what was it, Mike? What was the guy?
Reedy.
Reedy, yeah. Mike Reedy ended up with it, I hear. But
Yeah.
but anyway, we just did it, and Pete was such a wizard because he was the machinist and kind of an inventor, and he would
he was a
create things.
true craftsman.
Yeah, he would create things. He would take something like a rotisserie oven, just a little old oven, and he'd, get all the epoxy and put it on the armatures and
And then rotate them as
put it in there
was
and built up a little thing so that they rotated so that the epoxy wouldn't drip to one side or the
Yeah,
other.
it was a unique way of self-leveling.
So it took very little drilling to balance it then.
Yeah, pretty
Well,
much.
less.
Less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he also created a little welder, a spot welder. So once we wound the armatures, we could spot weld it to the commutators.
Oh my God.
So we bought drill blanks for the shafts,
Yeah.
and we took the stators out, and we'd get those powder coated, to insulate them from the wire. Wrap the wire on there, stick the commutator on it, and weld them to the commutator, and coat them with epoxy, cook them, turn them on a lathe after they're done to get the epoxy off the stators, and then I'd balance them, and we'd be done with them. I think they were $15.
Yeah, they were a super bargain.
Wow.
Yeah, but we
bargain.
sold those things all over the country.
Now this is for the road racing, for the
Yeah.
can motors?
Yeah, the drag racing was history then.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. That's the
That
thing.
was-
It's hard to stop
That'd have been
right
70.
there, because
Yeah.
because we just kind of kept going.
Well,
you
you
know.
were already so good at what you were doing.
Yeah,
Things.
69, 70, 71, and that,
Yeah.
right in that era there is when Pete and I were working and did all that. And John would come down there and work on his cars.
Yeah, I was mostly on the road then,
Yeah.
working for
So we didn't see
Mira,
a lot of him.
and it was a really fun time.
Yeah.
It was just a great time, and the racing was so good. Oh my, it was just great.
Now, in the drag racing, John, you did more top fuel. But I was kind of shocked. I read an article
Yeah,
about a race that I didn't even know anything about. And it was out in the valley. It was 1962.
62
No,
or 3.
I don't know where the hell I was. I think I'd gone to Europe that summer, and I think I must have been gone. I have no idea, because I knew nothing about this race, but all my friends were there. And you were running a stock car in that
I
race.
built a stock car for that race.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that
I
was
won.
a shock. Yeah,
I
and you
won, and I was the only kid that won anything.
You sure you didn't take my car?
Yeah, I'm sure, but
That was a soldered brass frame car.
no, what happened?
No.
Yeah, it was a brass
Was it
frame
brass?
car, and what happened is some brand new gears, some 64 pitch gears just came in, and they had two ratios. It was 266 or 166,
Wow.
and you didn't have much choice. So I built it, and I built it with the low gear ratio so that it was quick off the line, and I got to jump. Even if we hit the button at the same time, the car would jump out in front of the other guy, and the guy would screw up. Something would happen, and I went in a race. But yeah, Bob, what happened there is I built that car. I wanted to race it at the Nats. That was a Nats race, and I got Gallagher to let me ride in the back of his station wagon up there because I had no way to get there.
Yeah.
And we went up there. It was at the Glendale Armory. The track was on the floor. Big armory, just big empty building,
Yeah.
and it was a ball.
Yeah, that was the race that they covered here in
Yeah,
Rod
they
and
covered
Custom.
that
Oh
one.
yeah,
That was
it
their
was a
first
huge race.
coverage of a drag race.
Yeah.
Yeah, they covered that one, and it was.
But
Um,
we
we-
really like to travel though.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
did.
anytime there was something going, we drove everywhere, and we would go to San Diego. We'd go up north, but we particularly like to race up north.
Yeah, they had a couple of big clubs in the Bay Area. One of them was Arkers, and the Arkers put on these races at San Mateo, and they just had a. They
Bye,
put on
Frank.
so many races,
Glad
and
you
they
made
had
it
these
out.
wonderful.
Take care.
They had this wonderful magazine, and it was great to get one. As Southern California guys kicked our ass again,
Yeah.
and they'd underline the again.
And this was a drag race?
Yeah, yeah, these were drag races.
Yeah, they put on all these drag races that we used to drive up there for. And it wasn't until years later that I was up there, with Miras, that I met all these guys and got copies of the magazines and shit from them.
I was wondering where they came from.
Yeah, that's where it came from. I was always collecting whatever I could,
Yeah.
when I was around.
Yeah, I think the first time we went up there, we raced in the parking lot across the street from the Winchester House,
Yep.
some hobby shop.
Oh,
that was
really?
there. Yeah,
Yep.
that was the first one, and then we moved. We went to the Cow Palace one time,
Yep.
and Ed Roth was there, and a big car show at the time. But
Yeah.
we had a stock car, and I think that's the one where we're all lined up along the track with the trophies and stuff in that picture. And then there was something else at the Armory, and so several trips that we made up there for these races, and that was a lot of fun. Road trips are always fun, especially when you're 16, 17, 18 years old.
And your cars are the fastest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that helps.
always cool.
Nobody wants to drive 500 miles to get beat.
Yeah.
But that was
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
now, was there anything about your dragsters? Because you did a lot of dragsters. Was there anything about them that was unique that maybe you created that made yours a little bit better?
No, I don't really think so. I always looked at manuals, the way how slinky they were,
Yeah.
and I didn't see that cutting through that kind of air. I didn't see that make it go any faster.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
And what I wanted is the thing to stay perfectly square. So I built it. I called it a Bodo Flex because it was thick up to the front and rounded.
Right.
On there like that, and it could take a hit on the parachute.
Yeah.
It could crash on the floor, and when you got up, the thing was just perfect. And so, the thing, it was
for durability.
consistently fast,
Yeah.
because you could continue lightening it until it bent,
And some of them
and
did
then
bend.
build
yeah.
another one, and
Yeah, a
then
lot
build
of them did.
another one. Because that was another thing is. Part of the fun was building it. Shit, we just built another one. We didn't care.
Yeah,
You were
no.
afraid of the Flexi Flyer.
Yeah. Now Hustings was similar in design too. His were boat anchors.
Yeah.
But that much weight apparently didn't make a lot of difference.
Now, how many guys ran the unlimited class? Did anybody
Yeah.
ever?
About a
form
half a
that?
dozen.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that kind of disappeared after
Did
a
you
while.
guys do that?
No, we couldn't get the motors.
Oh.
No.
The only motor that really you could compete with, it was a Lindsay 1010 was
Yeah.
the name of the motor, and you had to get them from Bob Lindsay, who was 80 years old then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They never train motors or something.
And
weren't
Lindsay and Cartwright were good buddies.
they? Oh.
And Braverman and Cartwright and Warren Stone and a few other guys got Lindsay motors.
These are all Western,
Yeah, 'cause
right?
I've got
Western
some
Yeah,
models.
Lindsay
those are-
magnets in the
Yeah,
kit.
those
I
are
got
Western
from
model
Yeah, getting-
raceway guys who had them. And so they had Unlimited, which was kind of it was their only race. I mean, you know, it was a race for them.
Oh, I see.
'Cause
See
nobody
who was
else-
king of the unlimited.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, the king of the Unlimiteds was Bob Lindsay. He decided who won. You know?
Yeah, and I think the whole thing about Unlimited is that nobody else could get the motors.
Yeah.
Right.
So they decided, you know, I guess fairly, that they should be in a separate class.
Well, what made those that much faster?
Oh well,
Like five
it
pole
didn't
armatures?
it didn't have the stator plates together stacked like
It
that
was
or
one
anything.
solid magnet, wasn't it?
No, it was a casting.
Yeah.
It was a casting that the magnet fit in,
I see.
and
And the
The
armatures
tolerance-
were twist.
see, if you can imagine what a horrible design this is, it has 4 screws to torque this motor out of shape when
Yeah,
you tighten
not
it.
good.
Lindsay motor, you line boarded and it was square, period.
Yeah.
You know, and then he had ball bearings we couldn't get,
Oh.
aircraft ball bearings, and
Yeah, and I think wasn't the
That-
stator skewed on the armature?
on the arm, yeah, that gave
Yeah,
you
it had
more RPM.
and he had more.
Oh,
yeah. Because see, every one of his motors was like a one of a kind.
So he had a trailing on the brushes. He trailed one from the other. to get
No,
more RPMs,
no,
or-
we're talking about the armature rotor plates.
The rotor plates were
You-
skewed.
they were skewed
so that it ran a little bit
like
smoother.
that, so there was on
rather
an
than-
angle, so that it hit the
Oh.
magnet at a different spot
Oh, I see.
when the com fired the pole.
Huh.
Yeah, so timing I think would have been an
Yeah.
issue right there. You
Interesting.
know, so yeah, they had a
And,
big advantage, but that was a big deal when.
Oh, and not only that, they only went like 1 or 2% faster.
Yeah,
They weren't that much quicker
No.
than you guys.
No.
no,
I
and
mean,
that's
we'd
probably why
won-
it's probably why they quit.
Yeah,
was
the guys
because-
would. Well, it was just like anything with speed. It cost you $10,000 to go from 1 second to 0.98. It cost you 500,000 to go to 0.97.
Yeah.
You know? That's
Right.
that's how it works in racing. You know how that is.
Oh yeah.
You know that there's a certain amount you can go for almost free.
Yeah.
Then it really costs
Right.
after that.
Yeah,
And it costs either in all the time you spend on design or spend on the parts.